Hey everyone, today we're going to answer the question, which lavalier microphone is right for you? Lavalier microphones, sometimes called lapel mics, are just small condenser microphones that can be clipped onto a shirt or lapel. They're a popular choice for interviews, as well as anyone who needs to do a lot of talking, such as teachers or preachers. And of course, lavalier microphones are great for shooting outside like this. Obviously, I fall into the teacher category, and lav mics for teachers are nothing new. A lot of people don't know this, but teachers are actually one of the groups most at risk for incurring permanent vocal damage. That's because we often have to speak over ambient noise and do so for many hours every day. In my line of work, having a wireless mic feels like having a superpower. Yes, class, it is I. Speak softly, man. Okay, dad jokes out of the way. Time to get into the review. Today we'll be looking at 3 wireless mics that run the gamut from super cheap to really quite expensive. As always, my opinions are my own. There'll be no sugarcoating it. Before we actually get into it, we should take a moment to consider whether a lav mic is actually what you want. Because for many applications, there are better alternatives.
If you're going to be doing voiceovers or sitting at a desk, a large diaphragm condenser mic is a much better choice. And while lavaliers are popular for interviews and talking head videos, I actually think a shotgun mic is a better choice as long as you're not moving around too much.
For this video, Fifine and Kamika were both kind enough to provide their microphones for review. As a benchmark, I purchased this BLX14 from Shure, as I consider it to be pretty close to the industry standard. The Fifine comes nicely packaged, and it might sound silly, but I'm really impressed with the quality of the packaging, at least when you consider the absurdly low price of this. It includes a headset, which I frankly will never use, but I know some of you out there will, so it's nice that they included it. Although there's nothing special about the build quality here, it doesn't feel particularly cheap. The bell clip in particular is nice, as I've had others that in the past fall off fairly easily after only a few uses, but this one seems to stay just fine. Moving on to the Kamika, things are looking very good. I was honestly blown away by just how much stuff it comes with. There seems to be an audio cable to connect to any imaginable sound system. Even more impressive was the fact that they included this pretty nice dead cat. No, not that kind of cat. This kind. The kind that keeps wind noise from messing up your audio. I think the Kamika is my favorite in terms of design. I really like the overall size and shape. It makes it easy to wear on a belt without coming off should you bend the wrong way. The receiver is also small enough to mount on a camera, making it a great choice for any video rig, and the digital display is the best out of the 3. This one is plastic too, but I have to say it has a more premium feel. Better than the Fifine or even the Shure. Speaking of the Shure, let's take a look at it. Shure is the industry standard when it comes to pro audio, and that's no accident. Their reliability and durability are the stuff of legends. I've seen SM58s that look like they've been used to hammer nails and still work great. So my expectations for this product are understandably high. I was a little surprised they didn't include any kind of storage case, which is a nice touch from Kamika. Still, everything was well packed, albeit a little bit cheaply. In the box you'll find the transmitter, the microphone, and a receiver with its own power cord. If you notice, the antenna is quite a bit floppier than the others. And that's actually a nice touch because it means it'll bend instead of pressing against your flesh when you wear it. The receiver unit is quite a bit larger than the others and features full-size XLR and quarter-inch phono outputs, making it easy to connect to any professional sound system. The plastic construction of everything feels solid and it's totally adequate, but not anything to write home about. So let's talk about how each of these setups are powered. The Shure and Fifine both run on AA batteries. That makes the Kamika the odd man out here because it uses its own internal lithium-ion batteries, which are charged via USB. That left me scratching my head a bit. As someone who doesn't like running out to buy AA batteries, I wondered why Shure would opt for the same option as the cheapest brand. When you think about it though, it makes perfect sense. This microphone is intended to be used day in and day out for years, if not decades. The fact is, lithium-ion batteries are great, but they only last for a certain number of charging cycles. That's fine for an individual, but if you're buying for an institution like a church or a school, after enough use, those internal batteries will eventually fail. It also means you can swap out batteries in the middle if it starts to lose charge during an important event. When it comes to professional work, sometimes simpler is better. With that being said, I actually prefer the Kamika's battery, and I don't see it being a problem for the way I use it. Speaking of battery life, one thing I was concerned about with the Fi-Fine were the reviews saying it chews through batteries at an alarming rate. In practice, I didn't think the batteries ran down any faster than any other lavalier I've used. They get me through about 2 full days of teaching, but if you're going to use it like I do, you'll want to invest in some rechargeable batteries. Let's talk about setup. How easy are each of these to use? Well, it turns out very easy. They were all totally plug and play for me. Let's start with the Fi-Fine, as it was by far the easiest. This one has a neat trick up its sleeve, a built-in USB interface. I really needed that because a lot of my students are virtual at the moment. The Fi-Fine was perfect for video conferences because all you have to do is plug it into a USB port, turn on the receiver, and bam, you're ready to go. My computer and Google Meet recognized it immediately, and that was that. Both the Kamika and the Shure are designed to be used with analog outputs, so you can plug into a camera or PA system very easily. I really have to praise Kamika here for including a variety of cables. That makes it well suited to a variety of use cases. The Shure, by contrast, is a one-trick pony, but a really high-end pony, the kind that wins all the ribbons. Now, it's too big to mount on a camera, and you wouldn't anyway, because it needs to be connected to wall power. But what it's perfect for is connecting to a PA system. It's well built, and it looks like it would take more than a few knocks. This is the only one I would consider if I were buying for a school auditorium or a church. Let's talk about audio quality, because this was the part that surprised me the most. The Fi-Fine, the cheapest of the bunch, sounds acceptable. You can hear me and tell what I'm saying, but it's a bit noisy and not all that transparent. For $50, I wasn't really expecting much, so this is fine for a lot of people. I guess what I'm saying is the Fi-Fine is fine. Next up we have the Kamika. It's about 3 times more expensive and in my opinion delivers 3 times the audio quality. It's much less noisy, and if I hold it right in front of my face, it sounds really good. Now my only complaint is that this isn't how it's designed to be used. It's supposed to be worn here, and when I do, the sound quality starts to suffer. While it still wins over the Fi-Fine, I'm a little disappointed at how boomy it is when speaking off-axis. It's nothing that can't be cleaned up in post with some EQ, but I think it's a bit of a shame it's not brighter out of the box. But if you really need the best audio quality, there's only one answer, and that's the Shure. Its frequency response is exactly right. They've obviously taken the time to tune it precisely for speaking. It really brings out sounds in the 10K region where the clarity of the human voice lies. That's the area you really need if you want to be understood. It's the most expensive one here, but there's a reason for that. If I were investing in a microphone for heavy professional use and my budget allowed, this would be a no-brainer. To give you an idea what they sound like, I'm going to do a dramatic reading of an important literary work. One thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I've designed this rhyme to explain in due time all I know. Time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it tick down to the end of the day. The clock ticks life away. It's so unreal. I didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on, but you didn't even know. I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Did you hear what I heard? The most expensive mic sounds the best. Surprise!
And that really is what I thought at the time. I even recorded a whole bit for this part where I said,
in fact, the quality of each microphone seems to line up neatly with its price point.
However, all that changed in editing when I began to add my normal EQ and compression. With just the basic processing I would do for any microphone, the difference becomes much harder to discern.
One thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I've designed this rhyme to explain in due time all I know. Time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it tick down to the end of the day. The clock ticks life away. It's so unreal. I didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on, but you didn't even know. I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
True, the $50 Fi-Fi never quite reaches the level of the others, but it gets closer than one would expect. What's even more interesting is that with just basic signal processing, I think the Kamika sounds very nearly as good as the Shure. The Shure still edges it out, but only just barely, and not enough for me to justify spending $100 more. Now the only catch is, if you're going to be using these in a live setting, you may not have the luxury of controlling the EQ. But for any sort of video production where you're going to be tweaking the audio anyway, I would go for that Kamika every time. So where does that leave us? Which one is right for you?
Well, that depends entirely on who you are and what you want to do with it. I know you guys would love to see me tear one of these products to shreds, and I would love nothing more than to do that because it would make a great video. But the truth is, I think these are all excellent choices, but not for the same person. Let's start with the Fi-Fi. If you're a teacher looking for a wireless lav mic for online classes, this is hands down your best choice. Even though I had access to all three of these, I found myself reaching for the Fi-Fi every time. I just couldn't be bothered to deal with connecting the other ones when it's so much easier to plug in that USB stick and go. Although I dinged this one a bit for its audio quality, the fact is platforms like Zoom and Google Meet compress their audio so much that you'd be hard-pressed to hear the difference. Now for video makers, I wouldn't really recommend this for a serious project, but if you're just starting out and you want to experiment, this isn't a bad way to go. Now the Kamika is a bit trickier to evaluate because it's not super cheap. At that price point, there are other brands you could look at. But with that said, I was really impressed with it and enjoyed using mine. It's the perfect size to mount on a camera, and I think it's a natural fit for the amateur filmmaker or YouTubers, as long as you don't mind doing a little EQ in post. I also really like it for live speaking, something I do a lot. So I think this is definitely going to have a place in my classroom. As I've said before, Shure is the standard for a reason. When you buy a Shure, you buy peace of mind. I guess you could call it assurance. If it has to work and has to work every time, this is the one you want. So if you're buying for an institution, stop the video now and go get one of these. You won't be disappointed. For me personally, I think it's a little more than I need and isn't as versatile as the Kamika. But if you need the very best, get it. Just be prepared to pay for it. Well, that's all for today. I hope this video helped you out, and don't forget to subscribe for more music and guitar videos. See you in the next one. Bye.